Okay, I've got a lot of baseball caps. You acquire a couple baseball caps every year. In 15 years, you've got a lot of baseball hats. Now, the question isn't why I acquired them. The question really is, why do I hold on to them? And I didn't really have any ideas. I mean, I kind of had this sense, well, they're from the past, I had this and this, but I didn't really understand why I kept them until Danish Girlfriend started to ask me questions, and I was finally able to start decluttering my hat collection. The first question Danish Girlfriend asked me is, can you wear all those hats? How many heads do you have? You only have one head unless you're Cerberus, the hound of Hades, who kept guard of the underworld. He had 3 heads. And that's a dog. Dogs aren't very interested in hats. So you don't have enough heads to wear all these hats. I mean, say you want to change your hat a couple times, you might need 7, maybe 10 hats for your one head, so that you can change your hat. Some people don't want to be seen in the same hat. I understand that, but I still have more hats than I needed for my one head. Do these hats have sentimental value? Do these hats have sentimental value? Well, some of them do and some of them don't. This one, I happen to be in Berkeley, California. I bought it. Don't really care right now. This one's Napoleon Dynamite. Now, maybe when the movie came out, this was another gift. Maybe when the movie came out, I thought it was pretty good. And then you have this bank hat. I don't even know why I have this bank hat. So there's no sentimental value with that. Now, I will say there is some sentimental value to some of these hats. All right, this hat is the 76 Unical hat. It's an oil company. West Coast based, and when I lived in Los Angeles, I used to like to get gas there, and I was kind of fascinated with the small orange ball that they gave when you had gas, or they had promotions when you could buy a hat like this. I have a hat like this. I have a basketball. I have a football. I have a baseball. So I guess I just like the orange color. Now, here's a Pepsi hat. And you said, why is a Pepsi hat so good? Well, because I had one occasion where I had a malfunction on my Pepsi bottle. Yes, that's true. Sometimes your bottle has a malfunction. I would open it up and it would bubble out. It just starts pouring out. I couldn't control it. And I happened to twice, 2 bottles. So then I called the Pepsi distributor. And they said, that's interesting. Could you tell me the bottle tracking number? They actually have a bottle tracking number. And I told them that. And they said, oh, well, we're really sorry. We'll send you some coupons for some free Diet Pepsi. And then at the end, I chimed in, could you throw in a hat? And they did. Why? They wanted to keep a valued customer like me happy. So I have the hat. I've since stopped drinking Diet Pepsi and Diet Coke, because, well, let's face it, it's not very good for you. So I don't drink the Diet Pepsi or the Diet Coke anymore. Why do I keep this here? Why? It's a small victory for against corporate America. And of course, I have my meat hats. These are from the turkey store. Now, these have sentimental values. Probably not something I should share. They had an offer in the Jenny turkey that if you ate, I think, 15 packages of their turkey, which was about 1.5 pounds, and then you sent in the proof of purchases, you would get this turkey hat. Now, I was on a particular, I don't know, sometimes I would eat things constantly and then I would change. This time I was eating ground turkey, and let's just say I managed to get 4 hats. I gave 2 away to other meat lovers, and I call this the meat hat. Now, I'm not sure whether this is a very good sentimental value, but I I am reminded of the story of acquiring my meat hat. My Danish girlfriend says you should not glorify either eating that much ground turkey or drinking that much soda. That is for a different discussion. Now, when we're continuing with our hat discussion, and the question is, why are Americans so keen on their baseball hats? Well, Americans have been very keen on wearing hats. George Washington wore a hat as he crossed the Delaware. Benjamin Franklin wore a fur hat. Abraham Lincoln wore a stovepipe hat. And Theodore Roosevelt, he wore a number of hats. He wore a tuxedo hat and he wore a Rough Rider hat as he scaled the hills in the Spanish-American War. So hats are very important. Why is that? Because we print things on our hats. The Turkey Store, Pepsi, Unical, even the hats that I'm not, this bank, for example. And I'm not even sure what bank it is, but people who worked in this bank probably enjoyed getting a hat like that. Why? Because it identified them. People like pieces of clothing, and in particular hats that give them a sense of belonging. People like to belong. And one of the things that signifies belonging, particularly in the United States, is baseball caps. I have been told anecdotally, and I've read, people in Europe and Asia do not wear baseball caps except when they go to sporting events, So they don't have this desire for identifying with something. Why? I think it's because America, all the people here, or their ancestors, left something else in search of a new identity. And so I think it's still people who are even, I had a great-grandfather, he came from Sweden, he was looking for a new identity. I think it's still in me. We all want to, I want to belong. I want to belong to something. I'm in America, which is always searching for something better, but never quite getting there. So there is a need to feel like you belong. And that is what these baseball caps. I belong to a tribe of people who use Unical. I belong to a group of people who have an obsessional desire to eat ground turkey. And I used to belong to people who drank soda pop. There are people who really, and there are cola wars. People, Diet Pepsi, Diet Coke, they will go at it. Why? For no reason that it's just like, well, I'm on this side, they're not on my side. They're not identifying with me. They're not wearing the same hat I do. All right, so now it all comes down to Danish Girlfriend finally puts all the questions to me. Do you have enough heads to wear all these hats? The answer is no. I only have one head, and I can probably feel like I'm only comfortable wearing 7 hats a month. So probably I should only be having 7 hats a month. Now, how much are these sentimental? Well, these are not sentimental hats, but yes, my Turkey Store and my Unical and my little victory over corporate America, the Pepsi company, because they were selling me a defective product, but I overcame that and I got this. This is my little, it's like a little trophy. So I have identity and reward. Pretty darn good. Now, question. Are any of these themes things that I hold on to? Yes, in the past, I had a theme. Now, this one, because it falls under my limit hat, I will keep it. But I'm no longer a 76 Unical person. I don't drink Diet Pepsi anymore. And I don't eat maniacal, huge amounts of ground turkey in a maniacal fashion. So I don't identify with this. And it's one of the reasons, as I've gone through my phase of acquiring hats, trying on themes, trying on identities, because that's what we do, I feel like I don't feel like I need to identify with something because I now have it in me. Danish Girlfriend says, you have it in yourself. You do not need to identify with the turkey store. You can identify with yourself. The turkey store, Pepsi, and Unical. These are all things you use to get through life, to make life more enjoyable, but it is your life. In fact, the only hat you should be wearing is one that shows you, that highlights you. And you know what that hat is? Just my head. My head is the hat that I choose to wear. And that's enough for me. Thank you kindly.